All right, we're back for episode 6.
You're still keeping count of that. That's
Yep,
good.
still keeping count. um, we have a little kitty in the house now, and we're just looking at him laying in front of the fire. He's so cute.
Yeah, our daughter manifested that kitty.
Yep, she manifested him. We told her, no, you can't get a kitty until you're
10.
10 years old or something.
Uh-huh.
And all of a sudden, my parents found they have a bunch of feral cats at our cabin, and they found a little kitten who was abandoned by its mother. And they were like, well, if you want Rumi to have it, she could have it. And so
And I opposed to it 150%.
mhm,
And I'm falling in love with the
yes,
little thing.
he's a very loving, cute little kitty. Um, and I think he'll be a good addition to our family.
We have no choice now.
Yeah. Um, but yeah, and other news as well, we have still have construction going on in our house, pounding all day.
The beauty of replacing your siding.
It's looking so good though. I mean, the people that are doing it are really great. I would recommend them to anybody. They're amazing. Um, but it's a lot to have like that noise, and we just work from home, and I've just been really tired, so I haven't been able to get out of the house, and we've had a lot going on. Marcos has been nonstop on the phone for the past 2 days.
That's what I do.
Yeah, which is good because it means good things are happening, but it's just been a little hectic around here, so I'm a little bit tired.
And it's only today is only Tuesday. This comes out of Fridays, but
Yeah, so well, we're gonna try recording on Mondays and Tuesdays, but so we can do the back end work by Friday. But yeah, and so yeah, this week we wanted to talk about Argentina, Argentina's president, because that's kind of been all over the news, and of course Marcos has a lot to say about it, and just kind of see if we can see where that conversation goes. I guess so.
yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, I do have a lot to say about it.
yeah, and I don't know that much about it, so you're gonna be talking a lot.
Yeah, you can interview me. Like, and anything that you don't understand, probably most people are not going to understand.
Yeah.
So, um, it is very interesting because of all countries in the world, Argentina getting um, a libertarian
I think that's the
president.
first thing you need to explain. It's libertarian in our terms. In the U.S., we would call him libertarian,
Correct.
but in Argentina, he's liberal, right?
Correct. Hmm.
Okay, explain that.
Well, what happens is that what would be considered libertarianism in the United States is basically comes from the "Don't Tread on Me" flag and um, John Locke. With the well, basically the United States Constitution is very libertarian. Um,
For sure.
for example, if you go to John Locke, he's a philosopher that kind of started that whole thing, and he actually called that liberalism. But now that is more attached to the left, the Democratic Party in the United States. However, in Argentina, liberalism has always been the classic liberal.
Mm-hmm.
And
Okay.
you know that's something that can make it confusing because
Mm-hmm.
for all intents and purposes, um, Javier Milei, he's a libertarian. Maybe you could say conservative libertarian
Mm-hmm.
more than anything because he has his beliefs and everything, but at the same time he respects a lot, the freedom of each person doing
Yeah, living their life.
their life, yeah,
Mm-hmm.
living their life the way they want to live it,
Yes. Okay.
beyond his opinions, you know.
Yeah. So tell us, like, when he became president and kind of a little bit about what he's gonna do for Argentina.
Yeah, so that's kind of interesting because he's not a politician at
Mm-hmm.
all. Um, and he won the elections in November. In Argentina, it's not the same as the United States. For example, the United States has what's called indirect democracy or indirect voting. I can't
Mm-hmm.
somewhere around those lines. Can't remember the name exactly, but it's indirect,
Mm-hmm.
right? Which means that we vote, and here in the United States, and our vote doesn't count one vote for the president. That's why there's always that
Right.
discussion of
Mm-hmm.
like somebody wins the popular vote, but
Mm-hmm.
then they don't win the election.
Yeah.
Um, I I think that's a better system, but
Mm-hmm.
that's me. In Argentina, it's direct vote, or you know,
Yes.
one vote is the percentage.
Yeah.
So what happened with Milei was that he destroyed everyone in the primaries, basically, which are different in Argentina than here. The primaries
Mm-hmm.
is basically to clean off any candidate because anyone, like, I could go today to Argentina
Mm-hmm.
and register a party and run for president,
Mm-hmm.
just like that. That am I gonna get votes? Probably five. No, maybe more than that. Actually, maybe a couple hundred.
Misha Ballester.
Yeah,
Todos te van a votar.
exactly. I'm pretty sure that everyone would vote for me there, but um, just for the hell of it, probably. you know.
Mm-hmm.
But so it's different in here. It's not a bipartisan thing, even though it's almost one party, which is the Peron's Peronist party,
Mm-hmm.
and everybody else.
Mm.
It used to be the Peronist party and the Radical party, but then after the 80s, the Radical party was completely
Eradicated.
not eradicated. They're still representatives, but
Mm.
it lost all power.
Oh.
It became like a third party, if you want to be generous.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so that's kind of how it is in Argentina, right? So one vote, he destroyed everyone in the primaries. He actually lost. He was second in the election, but you have several candidates. And then what happens is that unless the first candidate, the candidate that's number one, doesn't get a difference of 10% of votes on top of the second, then you go through something that's called ballotage, which is something very French, comes from there actually, the whole concept. And that's where people have to decide between the two most voted candidates, and that's what happened.
Mm-hmm.
And over 55%, I think over 56% of the country
Mm-hmm.
elected Milei
Mm-hmm.
to be president, just because there were those two options. What happens in Argentina is that, well, what happens with Milei first is that he wasn't a politician. He's an expert in economics. He predicted every
Interesting.
single thing that has been happening in Argentina in the last 6 years.
Yeah. Tell us about what's been happening and like some of the things he was saying in his speech because and like what his predictions are for the future, which were the most shocking to me.
Yeah, yeah.
I'm
So,
just gonna turn down these lights over here.
yeah. And that's kind of, I think it relates a lot to here, what people are going to start experiencing in the United States too. Because there's something that I don't think many people are aware, and we talk about it a lot, and it's inflation and hyperinflation.
Yeah.
Um, and then there's something called like deflation and a bunch of other concepts. But so, long story short, Millet rose to fame because he accurately predicted every movement in the economy. Because there are studies, and this is proven, that the economy has whatever the government acts, whatever the government does to remediate, or whatever actions they take, the consequences, you can see them only economically 18 months later.
Mm-hmm.
We were talking about that. It has a
Yeah, it's
name.
the same with I at least what I've heard about interest rates here. So like they'll raise interest rates, but you really won't see the effects of it until 18 months later.
Well, the same happens with when you're printing money
Hmm.
or when you're talking about the economy of a country or anything like that. The
Hmm.
decisions that the people in power make are gonna be seen, 18 months later when it
Hmm.
comes to the economy. That's what Milei always has been saying
Hmm.
for since 2017 that he first like was in the first show
Mm.
on TV talking about economics.
Interesting. So now Argentina has basically an economist, an expert economist for a president.
Correct.
That's kind of, I didn't know that before we had this conversation.
Hmm.
So that's really going to be very interesting to see what happens.
Well, and that's why you saw him in that speech, in his inauguration speech, talking so much about statistics
Yes.
and what's going to happen with the economy, and that's why he got elected too,
Yeah.
because he has a 34-year plan. Like he's hoping that he can do 8, and then like change Argentina enough
Yeah, to make people understand.
to make people understand what needs to be done,
Hmm.
which is something that Japan had to do after World War II
Hmm.
as well. I can talk about a lot of different
Well,
things,
let's focus on Argentina.
but um, so that's he became famous because he predicted everything accurately on TV. He was part of some reality shows too, and
Hmm.
like that afternoon shows and things like that, right?
Hmm.
And he like you can see videos of him. He hates socialism with a passion that
Hmm.
like I remember I was watching one of the American comedians that was kind of covering him, as becoming president and everything. And this guy was saying, I wish I would love something as
Much as
much
he
as he
hates it.
hates it. you
What is it
know,
because it like ruins the economy or?
it's because it ruins the economy. One of the phrases that he has a lot is that the government can't give you anything because it doesn't produce anything. The private sector is the producer of
Yeah,
things,
that makes
basically.
sense to me.
It does,
Hmm.
right? When you put it that way, it makes sense. But
Hmm.
that's super taboo to say
Hmm.
because the government's supposed to be there to help you,
No,
to,
the government is so the what produces are the people and our businesses. That's what runs the economy.
exactly.
And then the government's there to, I don't know the word, help make sure everything is done fairly and justly and whatever.
Yeah, yeah. I think that the government is there to um, control and regulate.
Yeah, regulate.
Um, but well, not control, but regulate
Yeah.
more than control. And those regulations have to be based on free an economy, free individual freedom as well. Because if
Right.
you start putting everyone in the same bag, then you're going to have really unhappy people. That's what has been happening for almost 100 years in Argentina.
Yeah.
And so, just to give everyone a little bit of history in Argentina, back at the turn of the 20th century, right, at the beginning of the 1900s, um, everything was pretty screwed up in Europe, right? So, when you were European and you needed to immigrate, which happened a lot, right? You looked at the whole American continent, all the way up
Hmm.
from Canada down to Argentina. But the two best countries to immigrate to were United States and Argentina.
Hmm.
Argentina started the 20th century with 80% of the GDP that United States had. So they were both United States and Argentina
Hmm.
were
Competitors. Hmm.
competitors, were world powers.
The world powers. Yeah. Wow.
Um, Buenos Aires was,
Hmm.
I mean, you can see it in the architecture,
Yeah.
uh, you
It
know,
looks like the Paris of
of South
South
America.
America.
Yeah,
That's what they say.
yeah. Well, and it
It
kind
does look like,
of,
yeah, European city.
yeah,
If they
and
would clean up the dog shit on the freaking road.
Well,
It's
I'm
probably
sure.
like that in Paris too.
Yeah, exactly. I don't think there's much difference in that. And then
Yeah,
you have cats in Rome, so
yeah.
you know it's a different animal. But so what happened is that it Argentina started adopting the collectivist ideas as a form of government. Even though
Hmm.
Argentina, just like United States, the Argentinian Constitution is based in big part in the United States Constitution too.
Hmm.
That's what. Well, guess why you have very libertarian constitutions, and suddenly you're world power. Go figure, right? It
Hmm.
seems that free market does something for the
Hmm.
economy and people in general.
Hmm.
Um, we can argue about other concepts and the social stuff in those times, but again, we're talking about money, about economy right now, and it's breaking. So Millet is breaking the mold completely right now, and it's showing how tired people are of
Hmm.
this. The government is there
Well,
for
how
you.
he was saying, what he was saying was like how bad Argentina has gotten.
Yes.
And I was like, holy crap, it's
Well,
just
and
really
that's why I
bad.
needed to explain how good Argentina
Yeah.
was to understand how bad is it, like, and how it can happen. It can happen quickly too, because I remember when I was growing up, Argentina was recovering thanks to some things that that government did in the 90s to get the currency stable and 1 to 1 to the dollar.
Hmm.
So it just depends on it. But then, like, everything basically went to shit when they changed the government and the economical philosophy again.
Hmm.
So after 100 years of a lot of collectivism and dictatorships in Argentina, which the dictatorship were allegedly more, less collectivists, but that's the extent of it. It's not that they weren't collectivists; they still were somewhat. Um, you get to what Millet was saying in his speech, which was something like, I can't remember the number exactly, but less than 20% of kids graduating from high school
Yeah.
in a timely manner. So maybe some are graduating, as with night school, when they're like 25 or something like that. They're dropping off high school, not college, but high school. And then out of that 20% that graduates, 70% can't solve a math problem or read, have reading and comprehension when they
Hmm.
read anything. There's no
Yeah.
reading code. So 70%. So only 30% of 20% of people that finish high, that are supposed to finish high school, can actually do something with their brain.
Yeah. Imagine, yeah, what Argentina's future looks like now with all of those people who haven't been educated. And that probably says something too about the educational system. Obviously, in Argentina, it's horrible here too. I mean, but it's better than there, so it must be really bad there.
Right? People complain about the school system here, like we do all the time. Like
Yeah.
I don't think that schools have in
They've been
mind
doing it the same since how many freaking years ago?
150 years or
Yeah.
more. I mean, we've evolved as a society, way from that. And so I found out today that he had to end a law that made it so even if the kids didn't have good grades, they could still finish high school and get the diploma.
That is so stupid. Why would you ever make a law like
Yeah.
that?
Even if you don't pass a single class in high school, you still get the high school diploma. Like, of course, 70% of kids
No.
are not gonna. That
There's
because
no incentive to do anything.
exactly, if you're gonna, because the goal is finishing high school so you can get a job. Because I was telling you this the other day. Growing up in Argentina, my view of my future was like non-existent, because you had people that were psychologists or even doctors, and I have a few examples that I know of that are, uh,
Yeah.
that I'm going to talk about now. Um, they were driving taxis with a PhD.
Yeah.
Like you're a cab driver that has a PhD.
Yeah.
What where does that take you? I have a friend, he's a doctor now, and his girlfriend, fiance, partner, I don't know. She's surgeon, neurosurgeon.
Hmm.
But money is not enough, so she has to, be working in an ambulance too, on top of being a neurosurgeon.
Which is like, oh no, thank you. Like, I don't want my neurosurgeon to be like exhausted because they have to now work in an ambulance, which is an extremely high stress job, and then they have to go like use their hands and like be calm when they're operating on my freaking brain.
Right?
No.
Can you imagine that? Like this is the level of uh, crisis that there's in Argentina. Like,
Well, yeah, and I mean, we could go into it's all the systems that are fucked up. Like, think about your dad. The medical system is just horrible.
well, yeah, they basically let him die
Yeah.
there,
Hmm.
and yeah, it's free. You may die, but it's free. You know?
Yes. Well, doesn't even matter then. Why even? Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. That just in my head. It just looks like a big ball of yarn that's just been like tangled up like so badly. Like to unravel it is gonna be just
Yeah, it's like when you have the headset, with the cord
yeah.
in your pocket, that in ear one that it is impossible to unravel. I think that's the task of this new president,
Yeah.
basically.
Really.
And I hope he does a good job. But
He can at
um,
least take one string out of a few strings out of a
right.
tangle.
Well, and then there's other things that are happening where I think it's something like 47% of the workforce, or even more, um, work for the state, so for the government.
Hmm.
That means that almost half, and I'm saying almost half because I don't have the statistics. Almost half of the people that are working for the government. What are they producing?
Yeah.
More than it, that's basically giving people a job that costs
Yeah.
people money.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, because that's not contributing to the economy.
Exactly. It is not producing anything. It's
Yeah.
just um a made up.
Hmm.
Well, not made up. I mean, there are jobs that are necessary in government, but
Yeah.
half of the workforce working for the government,
Really, yeah, not
the
necessary. So, what was he saying about inflation? So right now,
oh
it was crazy. It's gonna go to like 3,000% or something crazy.
yeah. So what he was saying about the inflation is that because Argentina has been printing pesos like crazy for
Hmm.
the last 4 years,
Hmm.
um, and that has consequences. The What surprisingly is that the candidate that actually won the first part of the election,
Hmm.
he got beat by Milei in the second, is the economy minister that had the worst inflation in Argentinian history,
Oh my God.
and people still voted for him.
Well, then it all makes sense now, but nobody's educated. So they have no idea what they're voting for. They don't understand the economy. They don't understand economics or
Most people
anything.
can't
Yeah.
read and comprehend.
So
So yeah, I mean,
they just, yeah. I mean, I understand what's going on. Yeah.
and it is a culture thing too. But we can go into that a little bit more. So about inflation, yeah, it's
Hmm.
gonna get crazy because what they have been doing in this last year and a half. So what's happening today is the decision that happened a year and a half ago. So for the first 2 years
Mm.
of this new presidency, he's gonna have to save whatever he can and adjust to all the decisions that have been made previous to him,
Yeah.
which were extremely bad. I mean, I
Mm-hmm.
am talking about like right now. There's two exchanges: the official exchange and the black market exchange in
Mm-hmm. We
Argentina.
talked
For
about this in a recent episode.
really,
Mm-hmm.
okay. Well, so the official was saying something that the peso, that each dollar is worth like 360 pesos, something like that. But the black market exchange, which is more real,
Mm-hmm.
was saying more. No, it's gonna be more like 1,000.
Right.
Because that's the demand, the real demand. So he is going to free and stop controlling the exchange, which is what the other government was doing.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so there's free exchange of currency and everything there, which is gonna make it go up to like from 360, boom, up to 800. And when the official exchange goes there, what's gonna happen is an adjustment of the economy, very heavy, because you have to think about at a corporate level. All the corporations, all the businesses have to deal with the official exchange.
Oh, interesting. Okay.
So the black market is one thing,
Yeah.
but then when you have to do business
Yeah.
legally, you have to go with the official exchange. So that's going to change business a lot.
Uh-huh.
And then the other thing too is that what he was saying there is that all the decisions that were made are going to make the next 18 months extremely hard.
Mm-hmm.
We Argentina has had 150% of inflation.
Since.
So what United States had in a year, Argentina has in a month or a couple weeks
Mm-hmm.
of inflation. Like, you can't even, salaries don't keep up. Like today, like 1 month you're gonna make 100,000 pesos. The next month maybe they're gonna say, well, now you have to make 130,000 pesos.
Yeah.
It's extremely crazy. Um, Commerce, like supermarkets and anyone that wants to sell
Yeah.
something are
How the
holding off
heck?
their product as much as they can,
Mm-hmm.
because when they have to buy that same thing to sell it again, their money is not going to be enough to be able to buy the same amount and resell. It
Yeah.
affects a lot when you have that type of hyperinflation. It affects a lot. And from 150, he said that it's going to go to 3,000%
Yeah.
because of the decision of the last year of this candidate that was the economy minister.
So was that like Venezuela? What was Venezuela's?
I think Venezuela's in the millions now.
Oh my God. Okay. That's
Like,
ridiculous.
yeah, $1 is, I don't know how many millions now. And yeah, of what is it, like Bolivarianos or something like that. I don't know.
What the heck?
Yeah, it gets crazy
So
here,
life
right?
is gonna get even harder for Argentinians.
Yes, it's gonna get even harder. But and that's what he was saying. Like, we have to, like, this is the basically the eye of the hurricane.
Mm, interesting.
Like, this is the worst of the storm hasn't passed yet,
Mm-hmm.
but there's a light at the end of the tunnel if they give him his 4 years, and if the country actually changes and they give him the
Yeah.
plan up to 34 years. That's why I mentioned Japan. After the
Mm-hmm.
Second War, Japan had to rethink everything. Like, you have to imagine that Japan sided with Germany, so they were on the losing side, and on top of that, they had two atomic bombs being dropped in their land,
Mm-hmm.
and they had to pay a bunch of things due to the war. But
Mm-hmm.
now Japan is a huge economy. They don't have any natural resources.
Is Milei gonna try to do anything to fix inflation, or what's
Yeah,
his plan?
his first thing is shutting down the equivalent to the Federal Reserve,
Yeah.
which is insane. That's what people say God, Lincoln, and JFK killed, in the conspiracy world, because JFK was talking about
Mm-hmm.
shutting down the Federal Reserve too.
Hmm.
And that's why there's conspiracies about it. You can read about it. But that's his plan. That, like, the first thing is stop the money printing machine.
Yeah.
And then his idea, I'm not sure if he's going to do this or not, is do what Ecuador did, which is dollarize the Argentinian
Yeah.
economy.
You said that. And
That
how fast would he do that? Like immediately? Or because if he just, so why wouldn't you just dollarize the economy now and then stop it from going to 3,000% inflation?
because it's a process. You have to. It's a very complicated process where you have to have the solvency in dollars to be able to buy those dollars. They are going to
Oh,
start circulating in the country.
interesting. All this is
There's a lot
very
more to that,
fascinating.
but
Yeah. It's going to be almost, it'll be like this is the first country that obviously there's been a president like this and that has maybe done some of these things like kill the Federal Reserve. And so it'll be interesting to see what happens in the future as an example to Argentina, to other countries, maybe even the United States
yeah,
in the future
I
would
mean
want to get
it's
rid of our Federal Reserve.
well, I agree with that myself, but
Yeah. That
um,
that idea hasn't been brought up yet here, I don't think.
I think it has,
With a
but
president,
well, no,
has it?
I'm not sure if with the president, but like there are several things that Milei is gonna do in Argentina immediately. Like one of the things is that when you sell a car, or every year that
Mm-hmm.
you have a car, you have to pay money to the government for that. Even here, we
Well,
just did it with
yeah,
the truck.
yeah, I know that. Yeah.
Well, he is eliminating that
Mhm.
100%. He is eliminating income taxes,
Yeah, interesting.
but at the same time, he just in Sunday
Hmm.
Sunday 10th. He got his inauguration. He sat down in the office, and from 18 or 21 ministries
Hmm.
that were in Argentina, he wiped them all out. He left all nine, only nine.
Yeah, you told me about that.
So he's adjusting the government for the first time in almost 100 years.
Yeah, I know. So if he's taking away income tax, are there still going to be other types of taxes like sales tax and other ways to get money?
Correct.
Okay.
Yes, but he wants to reduce those too.
Yeah.
The thing is that he can't. He's going to try to do what's called a shock
Yeah.
in the economy, because that's the only way. He can't be gradual. Argentina tried to be gradual with all the changes, but the
Hmm.
problem with gradualism, he was explaining in his speech too, is that the next government comes and changes again.
True. Yeah.
So you can't be gradual in Argentina, because Argentina doesn't have the trust of the investors.
Hmm. Yeah, and 4 years just isn't that long to make the type of changes that Argentina needs. So it's like
No,
you just gotta
he
like,
needs 8
yeah,
minimum.
minimum.
So, and that's as much as you can get in Argentina too.
Right.
So, unless you amend the constitution, which some people have tried to do and all that stuff. But
Yeah. Then you get
um,
into other issues.
yeah, well, and that's the thing about again, and it's me, believing what he says, right? Because I always reserve, a little bit of my trust in politicians, because even though he doesn't come from politics, he became a politician.
Yeah.
In 2020, he ran for, uh, I'm not sure what the equivalent to American politics would be, but either Congress or the House,
Hmm.
right? One of those two, because it's very similar, but we have very different names, so it always confuses me.
Hmm.
And he was, in the state for the last 2 years, but what he was doing is giving away his salary, the official salary.
Hmm.
A lot of politicians got mad at him and even filed lawsuits against him because he was giving away his salary.
What do you mean giving away? Like to who? Just
He would do what's it called, un sorteo,
Like a raffle, was
like
it?
a raffle, yeah,
What is
or
sort deal? I forget.
he would give it away to like the person that, I don't know, if you comment this thing on Instagram, you have to do something.
Yeah.
I don't remember what it was that you have to do.
Mm-hmm.
um and,
Giveaways.
and he gives away his salary to the person that got selected out of like however
So
many,
what does he live off of?
his own investments.
Mm.
He's an
Okay.
expert
Well, yeah, I
economist.
guess he's an economist, so yeah.
So um like he has money. He doesn't
Mm-hmm.
need money, and he doesn't want money from the government. That's
Right.
the type of money that he considers as unearned money. So
Yeah.
what he did with his salary was giving it back to the people.
Yeah, because if you think about it, if the government is giving you money, then you're not really using, I mean, I don't get spiritual, like, but like if you believe in God, like you're not using your God-given gifts of creation, your own way to create abundance, and you're just sitting back letting all of that go to waste, you know?
Yeah, which is a lot that's happening in Argentina and even in the United States here too.
Exactly. Yeah, it totally happens here too.
hmm I think that when you rely on that, you don't create. You don't create. You don't have
No.
a purpose.
Yeah. Idle hands do the devil's work. That's the saying that came to mind. But yeah.
I mean, I struggle in my life a lot,
Hmm.
but I I'm happy that I finished high school and I can actually comprehend and do math problems. Coming from Argentina, now that I see all those statistics.
Hmm. Has it
But
just gotten worse and worse though? Or
oh yeah,
yeah.
yeah, exponentially, because when I went to school, at least like I had to pass.
Yeah.
I had to pass every single exam. Well, not every single one of them, but at least the important ones, right? Um, so, but in the last, I don't know how many years, because I've been living here for 12 years and I
Hmm.
finished high school in what, 2005 or something like that. So
Hmm.
I don't have kids. I didn't know anyone that was going to high school, so I have no idea how it works now. And it
Yeah.
changed at least 3 times while I was a kid, too. The system.
Hmm. Interesting.
It's basically the same. It's still like,
Well, I just remember you talking about your sister working as a teacher and like she could not control the kids. Do you remember her talking
oh
about that?
yeah, I do remember.
Yeah, and telling stories about all of that situation. And I was just like, oh my gosh.
Yeah,
And
well
your
that
poor sister, who's like very quiet,
yeah,
just super,
like
would never yell at anybody.
yeah, yeah, yeah. Sometimes she would bother me because she would speak like
Yeah,
too
it's
low
too
and like
quiet.
yeah, she's too quiet. So, but of course, because she's my sister, she would annoy me. But like, she doesn't have the voice to really like scream and be like, "Everybody,
Yeah,
sit down," type thing. And the kids would be out of control. And then what happens, unfortunately, is that the state got their hand there, and it became a lot of like government propaganda
mm-hmm.
and indoctrination in the schools.
Oh yeah,
Um,
I'm sure.
and
Didn't they give them all iPads or something like that?
computers.
Computers,
I
yeah.
mean, I understand that.
Hmm.
That part I understand because the economy is
Yeah,
so
but they
bad in
didn't use those to
Argentina.
learn.
But it doesn't matter to me. It doesn't matter if they use them to learn or not
Hmm.
because they're having interaction with a computer.
That's true.
They
Yeah,
need to use their brain to not use them to learn.
yeah,
Even if they're using them to play video games or to chat or whatever it is, at least they have interaction with the computer. I told you, my
yeah.
first computer was when
That's
I
true.
was
Yeah,
18 years
because
old. I paid it myself with my first job.
yeah. Well, and just in general, Latin America is so behind on technology, like navigating technology and everything.
Yeah.
So yeah, that makes sense in that.
I mean,
But
it is very different, and I think that um, that's what's happening to in Argentina. The Because everything is correlated, right?
yeah.
It, the economy is gonna impact the social aspect of a country, and it's
Hmm.
gonna that social aspect is gonna impact culture, and then the culture is gonna start impact. It's gonna do the other. It's gonna go back to the social aspect, and then the social aspect is gonna impact the economy again, which is
Yeah.
gonna impact again the social, and it's a vicious
Right.
cycle.
Right. And since a lot of these beliefs have been ingrained in the population's mind, and like they have been sort of indoctrinated by schools and stuff, it's going to be extremely hard to change that cycle because it's also created by the people's beliefs,
Hmm.
and that just feeds into the whole thing.
Yeah. Well, I can give you an example with my brother.
Yeah.
I love him with all my heart, but we were talking a little bit because he doesn't like to talk about politics all that much, and we were talking a little bit, and he's like, "I am Peronist. I don't care about who's running for who, but I'm gonna vote for this party because I'm part of this party, and that's my identity." As
Yeah.
if it was a team, a sports team,
Yeah.
and I'm like, I, I don't care about that. Like again, I don't believe any politician 100%. I want to believe them. I want to think that they're going to make some change. It seems that they're going to,
Yeah.
but
You can only hope.
you can only hope in the end because yeah, everyone can run a campaign and say, yeah, we're going to shut down the Federal Reserve. We're not going to charge any more income taxes. You're not going to have to pay sale taxes,
Hmm.
and we're going to you're not going to have to whatever the case is, right?
Yeah.
You can run a super hopeful campaign. But then why nobody voted for Ron Paul in 2012 in the conservative primaries? I mean, that was basically his stance there, right?
Yeah.
He's the libertarian in the lesser, and then his son,
Hmm.
right here. But
Hmm.
I think, and something else there too is that is the taboo of talking about money.
Yeah.
I think that when somebody like Milei in Argentina, for example, he talks about money. He's passionate about the economy
Hmm.
because in his belief that that's the first thing that's gonna impact everything else. I believe that too, honestly,
Yeah.
because I experienced very unstable economy, a
Hmm.
very unstable country, and now I'm experiencing for the last 12 years of my life 12, 13, 12, 12. Yes. Um,
Yes, 12. 12, 2012.
yeah. I experience um, stability, being able
Yeah.
to think about my personal economy yearly.
Hmm. So, what do you think the beliefs are about money in Argentina? Like the overarching beliefs that the average person might have.
Well, I think the overarching belief is that money is evil.
Hmm.
Talking about money, it's not taboo really, because like we share how much we make because nobody really
Really, you
cares.
do?
Yeah,
See, that's something that people wouldn't do here. I feel like it'd be more taboo to talk about how much you make
how
here.
much you make?
Uh
Yeah,
huh.
well, we don't because most people don't make nothing. So like,
Yeah.
I make a little bit less nothing than you.
Yeah. Well, and it doesn't matter because in a week it's not even going to be worth the same.
Exactly. Unless maybe the title it matters more.
Hmm.
In Argentina, but or if you actually are able to afford certain things.
Yeah.
But that part is not taboo. Weirdly enough, how much you
That is
make,
weird. Yeah.
yeah. But um,
But you guys always talk about like rich people as cheto and like,
yeah, because I'm
hmm,
from uh,
yeah, you're not from the
money.
rich neighborhood money. Yeah.
Exactly. And that there's this concept, very big concept, where money is evil, and anyone who is in pursuit of money, therefore, must be evil.
Mm-hmm.
There's a couple concepts there too, like for example, oh, look at that guy, he just changed his car with a new car. He must
Mm-hmm.
sell drugs,
Oh yeah.
because why would he be doing something honest or like being successful with the business or something like that? But this is Argentina. He probably is selling dogs because
Mm-hmm.
dogs. Well, that too. But
Oh.
you know, um, that's kind of those are the concepts. If you have a lot of money, then you're doing something bad for
Yeah, you're
sure.
doing something bad, yeah. Well, and I think a lot of people, they probably don't even believe that it would ever be possible for them to make a decent amount of money. Like that is probably just not even a something they would ever think would be their reality.
It is not, and I've been
Mm-hmm.
there.
Yeah.
I've been there. Um,
So it's easy to just be like, it's easy when you feel that way to just think that anyone who does make a lot of money is a bad person, or it hurts to talk about it because it's just like, I'm never going to have that.
yeah, there's a few things, like for example, home ownership.
Yeah.
In Argentina, renting is a dream sometimes for some people. It was for me.
Yeah. I know. That's so crazy. Renting is a dream.
And then you think about, but what do you mean, like
Because they
rent?
make it so freaking hard to rent down there.
That's one, and two, it's basically like you need two salaries
Yeah.
or three salaries to go rent something,
Yeah. Because the
because one of
down
your
payment.
salaries goes straight to rent.
Yeah. Well, that and then like the down payment. I remember when we were trying to rent something, not down payment, but the deposit is like, it's not just like 1 month's rent like it is here. It's like, it was way more.
Yeah, it was. So 1 month for the broker that the renter has to pay,
Mm-hmm.
1 month of deposit, and another month in advance.
Yeah. I was going to say 3 months. So,
Yeah, and that's when you have a good, a
yeah.
nice person. Sometimes they ask for like 2 months in advance, or 2 months of deposit, or 2 months in advance and 2 months of deposit, and then you have to pay the broker too.
Yeah.
So like you have to have all this money saved up in order just to rent something. It's not even your house. And at least when I was there, like there was a slight chance of
Mm-hmm.
home ownership if you were really lucky. I have a few friends that were able to buy,
Mm-hmm.
but now just imagine that the economy is so bad that no bank is giving any mortgage for over $22,000. And people that are listening to this may think, well, Marcos, but it's Argentina. How much can a house cost in Argentina? The same as here
Yeah.
in dollars.
Imagine making $300 a month and trying to buy,
$150,000 house.
yeah,
Sorry, apartment.
apartment. Yeah.
Mhm.
Literally. Yeah. And it's not nice. That apartment would not even be that nice.
No, no, no. In order to get to nice apartments, you need to get to the $250,000
Uh-huh.
dollars in
Yeah.
a country where most people make $300 a month.
Oh,
Where if
man.
you make over $1,300 a month, you're part of the 1%,
Yeah.
of the richest 1% of the country. Like, of course, you're not even close to like the richest part of the country, but we could move down there and like with
No way
$3,000, 4,000.
in hell I'm moving down
Yeah,
there.
I know. Yeah, it. I'm from there. I love my country and everything, but when it comes
Yeah.
to
It's a beautiful landscape, and of course the culture we enjoy would enjoy visiting.
yeah, but what happens is that it's dangerous
Yeah.
compared to here.
Yeah. It is. It's dangerous. And even it just scares me even just getting in a car, like the way they drive. And now and Millet was talking about something about the roads.
Yeah, something like only 17% of the roads are actually paved
Hmm.
in the country. And out of those 17%, I think only 12% of the total roads. So, like, they are in actual good shape. So, and probably most of those are in Buenos Aires or big cities. And then outside of
Hmm.
that, it's like dirt road and pray to get to where you need to get to.
Yeah. That is why your perspective on living in the United States is so different than so many people who grew up here. And being with you has also changed my perspective, of course, because I also lived in Argentina and Chile
And you work there.
and I worked there. Yeah. So after having that experience, I so appreciate living in the United States. And there's people that hate the United States, and I think that they're crazy. Like they don't understand. Like I have a very like old person view of it because they really don't understand how good we have it here.
People who don't like the United States or they think that is unfair here, live abroad. Go to Argentina. Go
Yeah.
to Mexico. Go to anywhere in Latin America. Live there for a year without any American dollars. Make the money there. Talk to the people there. Um, you know, get a job in Latin America
Yeah.
because
Get paid $4 an hour
if you're
and have to
lucky.
take the train an hour there and an hour back.
You're talking by experience,
Yeah.
right?
Hmm. And faint on the train and nobody helps you.
Oh, I remember that. Oh my
Yeah.
gosh. Yeah. It, it is not easy. It
No.
is ideal. You're like,
I was very depressed living there.
yeah.
Very.
Well, now you understand tango, don't you?
Yeah. No, it's not good. But also because I was used to growing up here, and so for
Well,
me it was like it was just like an experience for me. I knew I wouldn't I knew I could always come back, and that is exactly what I did.
and in the meantime, you saved me too.
Hmm.
Um, but
Thank you.
that's the thing. In the United States, you can do whatever you want, basically. That's why I think I say this every podcast, and people are gonna get tired of this, but I came here with a backpack and a guitar,
Yeah. That should be like on a t-shirt.
right? Like that's when I started saying that phrase, I was like, "Oh my God, my kids are gonna say yes." That in my great grandkids too,
Yeah.
um, are gonna say yes, Grandpa. We know you came to this country with a backpack and a guitar. Um,
Hmm.
but it is amazing what you can do here with so little.
Yeah.
I'm helping people that don't have documents that are undocumented
Hmm.
buy houses. And these are business
Yeah.
owners.
Yeah.
They barely speak a few words in English. And
Yeah.
they're business owners. They're buying houses and they don't have papers. How amazing is that? What other country in the world allows you to be that successful with so little?
I know. Yeah, it's all perspective.
It's all
I say
perspective.
that's what I always say. That's
That,
my saying.
yeah. I mean, look at the people that are working so hard in our house right now.
Hmm.
Like, what do we do every morning? We give them coffee. We make sure that they're warm. We make sure that they, hey, do you need something? You need water? You need something to eat or something? Like you need a snack because they're working so hard and they're doing an amazing job. They're
Hmm.
hustling all day,
Yeah.
and they know it's better to hustle here
Hmm.
than where we're all from, because the people that are working here are Latinos just like me. We're just doing different things. We're probably in different stages in our lives too.
Yeah. Cat woke up and he's playing. Let's see how long we've been talking for. Oh my gosh.
This is a long one.
Yeah.
Yeah, don't get me started talking about Argentina.
Been talking for 54 minutes. So, I mean, all these topics will come up repeatedly because they're part of who we are and our experience, our life experience. So,
Yeah.
um, we hope that you guys enjoyed listening to us talk about Argentina and
I
what's been
think
going on there.
yeah, I think it's a good example of what could happen here too,
Yeah,
Argentina. I know that it's been a lot of minutes talking about this, but I think that
the
the
last point you want to make.
the last point I want to make is
Mhm.
that um, we have to be careful here in the United States, um, and we have to make sure that we don't get to the point where Argentina got. I'm
Yeah,
talking about the first competitor of United States at the beginning of the 20th century, and now 70% of kids that graduate high school don't
yeah,
understand how to do
a simple
to use
math
their brain.
problem.
Yeah,
Yeah,
and
and it could happen with a lot of things that are going on right now. If we don't, I don't know if I would say like vote for the right person because I don't know how much those people
that's
actually
putting
do.
too much power in
It's
people that
yeah, it's about each individual really looking deeply at their beliefs and seeing what the real truth is instead of, and I don't know, I think it's also like hopefully people like you and I can help other people want to change their life in a way that they can live more in alignment with their purpose. Because
Mhm.
when you do that, you only want the best for everybody else, and your beliefs about money change and your beliefs about everything change. So,
Yeah, that's what happened to me. It
yeah.
was a long process, but I used to see money as evil
Yeah.
until I when I changed my perspective and my thoughts around money is when I was able to be successful.
Yeah.
Because one thing is moving to the United States and enjoying the stability that this has in getting
Hmm.
a job and everything, but a completely different thing is financial freedom. In
Yeah.
order to have financial freedom, you have to have a good relationship with money.
Yeah. Totally. And like people, I guess there is I would agree with the people that say there's an issue with corporations, in the United States.
100%.
So it's different when you think about like those corporations making money and then just um, average people living their life purpose and living an abundant life like that. Those are two completely different things. And so what we
It
want is the latter.
exactly what we want is every single person to be an entrepreneur.
Yeah.
Because if you're an entrepreneur on whatever you do, you're gonna put your heart and soul into it, and it's gonna be a part of you that you're sharing with the world, and that's gonna make you be
Hmm.
successful, whatever that is.
Hmm. Yeah. And in general, people will be more fulfilled, um, happier. I like literally just feel like there would be less crime. There would be less just
Less stress.
stress. Yeah. I don't know. It's this idealist. I've always had very idealist beliefs, but I truly believe that if people would live their truth, then the world would be completely different. Imagine like just there would be no depression, like anxiety would be lower. Um, I don't know. It's a lot to think about, but
It is, and it's a lot to change. I mean, I think that another conclusion about this is, for example, Argentina is a country that sees money as evil, or the majority of people have seen for a long time money as evil.
Hmm.
So that's what you get.
Yeah, you're poor then because you are repelling money from you.
Correct.
Hmm.
That that's exactly. I love when I say something and you finish it because that's exactly what I wanted to say. You repel it if you think it's bad.
Yeah, that is one belief I've seen you change a lot, and even I've changed that.
Yeah, yeah, because
Because I guess we're not going to end the podcast just yet. Because, oh, no, I forgot what I was going to say. Yeah, because we used to kind of have the belief that it was bad to want a lot of money or to even talk about money and feel like I obviously Marco said that we're talking about abundance. We're talking about money. Those are money is a reflection of it's like a measure of how creative you are being and if how in alignment with that purpose you are and how much you believe you can create something from nothing and all of these things. So those are beliefs that I have now that I didn't used to. And I used to think, oh well, I don't need that much money to live, probably because I thought it was bad to want
hmm
money or to talk about it even, which that needs to change.
it
It
does.
needs to change. It's an imaginary concept.
It is, and you have to be honest with yourself. That's what changed the most for me because I always wanted to be a rock star, and have all these luxuries and stuff. But that was taboo. That was, you
Mm-hmm.
know, no. I needed to look for something that's more, spirit, not spiritual, but socially acceptable.
Mm-hmm.
Whether that's spiritual or something that's not just being rich. Why do you want
Yeah.
to be rich? Well, to be free.
Yeah. It's really about being free.
Yeah, it's not about an amount of money. It's about the
Yeah.
mindset where like you're not seeing money as something that you desperately need.
Yeah. It's not about status or like looking a certain
No,
way or anything. And I mean, when you have a healthy, I don't know, healthy, but I guess I don't know what I would call it, but
a healthy relationship.
yeah, relationship with money.
Mm-hmm.
But that's the thing is, even I don't want to say like should or shouldn't or anything because I feel like it just all needs to be wiped clean. Like, let's just stop. I don't know. I feel like we could split this into two podcasts, maybe, but maybe we should. I don't know. Maybe we should continue this conversation next week. I
Or we're talking right now. Why not?
don't know because it's been an hour.
Don't worry about that.
Yeah. Yeah. I think that to bring it back to Argentina, like when everybody has those beliefs, let's say you're the person that doesn't have those beliefs in the society where most people have nothing, then like you're gonna feel so it's like such an outcast and
Mm-hmm.
you're gonna feel almost like the black sheep, just you're not gonna feel accepted, like people are probably gonna make fun of you or even I don't know, especially like they rob you or hurt you.
Of course.
And so it's easy in a country like that to just keep those beliefs because something like life isn't going to be easy.
Yeah,
Oh.
well, and that's what I was talking about when it comes to being honest with yourself.
Hmm.
Because sometimes the social pressure can make you think that you should be one way
Yeah.
when your true self wants to be a completely different way. I
Hmm.
told you about like one of my friends when we were growing up. She like completely called me out because I was like
Yeah.
talking about, nah, I'm gonna be like, it's chill, like don't worry about it, and all that. And she's like, what are you talking about? You love luxury, you know?
Yeah.
And I was like, no, I don't. No, I
Yeah.
don't.
Like it make
Like,
you embarrassed. Like, no, I don't. Like, I'm from the hood. Like,
yeah. And and then like now that I'm that I'm more in tune with myself. Yeah, it's not that I love luxury, or something, but it is nice to have nice things.
Yeah.
I mean, what we thought of luxury in, when we were growing up with my friends in Argentina is completely different of what a person here in the United States thinks of luxury. Okay.
Yeah.
So, um,
Hmm.
that's kind of a big difference there, but you need to be honest with yourself with what you really want.
That's true. Yeah.
How are you going to be comfortable? I experienced, not a panic attack, but uh, anxiety and a tiny bit of depression when we couldn't use the kitchen and the living room. I was,
Well, I don't think that has to do with like level of. I think that's just because our routine was thrown off, and
but it triggered a few things when my house
that's
was
true. Yeah.
a mess and when my house was very little,
Hmm.
and I couldn't really. So it triggered a few things. So of course you get used to nice things. That's basically saying.
Yeah.
But by curing, by healing your relationship with money and not seeing it as taboo, something evil, or something that shouldn't be spoken about because there are more important things than money.
Yeah, because you're a bad person if that's all you think about.
I disagree completely. I mean, of
Hmm.
course, this like we we're business people, so
Hmm.
money is a big part of our lives, but it is not the goal is not money. The goal is freedom.
Freedom. Yeah. And I would love to be able to make have so much abundance that I can share it with others,
Correct.
you know.
Yeah, and invest in other people's businesses.
Hmm.
Um,
Yeah.
that's
Help other people get to where I am
mm-hmm.
because we know that that will help the world. That will help so much. People just it's going to change everything if we can get a whole bunch of people, like if we can help one person, then they can help other people and they can help, then just like a chain reaction that will continue.
Yeah, we're very idealistic, but that's
I think you have to be.
otherwise you don't do anything.
Yeah. I mean, I don't see uh anything crazy about what I'm saying or any of those idealist beliefs I have. Like
Mm-hmm.
some people might be like, "Oh gosh, that'd be so hard," or I don't know, like it's gonna take too long. But like to me, it's like, well, I guess I'm just gonna find out because I'm
Yeah,
gonna try.
I was talking to one of our clients today, and he keeps repeating this phrase, where it's like, "There's no problems, only solutions."
I'm totally 100% on board with that saying.
Yeah,
Hmm.
um, it is
Only
kind of
solutions.
mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Because when you have a problem, you have to solve it. If you have a problem and you don't look for a solution, you're just complaining.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I totally agree with that.
Yeah, you're in a victim mentality.
Right, and that brings it back to Argentina, where I think a lot of a lot of people unfortunately have the victim mentality,
Mm-hmm.
that socialism can sometimes create.
Correct.
And yeah.
I mean, just ask anyone. I remember I was seeing, again, going back to Argentina, I was seeing a woman that was protesting, right? And part of a huge protest and strike. And the journalist asked her, "So, why are you protesting?" "Well, because we need more homes, because home is a right, right?
Hmm.
Home, not home. Well, yeah, home ownership,
Hmm.
but like we need to be able to live somewhere,
Hmm.
right?" And they asked, "Oh, and so you live in the street, or like what's going on?" "No, no, I have my own house, but the state gave me my house." So that's the first thing I was like, "Okay, well, you're lucky." Like my parents, like had to live in their parents' homes,
Hmm.
and therefore I lived in my grandparents' homes. Um, and that kind of was my destiny there as well. If I would have stayed in Argentina, probably I would kept living in my grandparents' home.
Hmm.
And so that was the first thing. And then she says, "But I'm not. I already have my home. The state gave it to me. The government gave it to me. But now I have kids, and I have like 9 kids. So I need 9 homes now because I don't want them in my home. So the government needs to give them homes to each one of them." And I was like, "What the hell is that thought?" I don't want to sound like an old man right now, but go get a job if you want a home.
Or
And
your kids, I mean, I don't know how old they are, but like, do they have a job? Are they old enough to get a job?
well, and that's the problem when the government gives you too much, then you're used to the minimum effort.
Yeah, it doesn't feel good to be given everything. Like,
No,
it just doesn't. It's just too easy. We're not built. We're supposed to play this game. This is a game and we're supposed to be playing it like we were talking about in the last podcast. And when you're just given everything, it's like you cheated
yeah,
and it doesn't feel good.
it doesn't feel good. Like what fun is it? And also, I can see how some people may think, well, but what do you mean get a job? You're talking about financial freedom, and you say like, "Oh, go get a job," but
You have to start somewhere.
you have to start somewhere, and second, through effort and through what's it called? Not a position, but through hardship, you figure out yourself out.
Yeah, 100%.
I am who I am today because I went through extremely hard times in Argentina. I
Mm-hmm.
went through very hard times here too when I was, acclimatizing to United States with
Mm-hmm.
language, with society, with culture, with the way things work, with jobs and everything. It was a
Mm-hmm.
hard adjustment,
Yeah, that's so true.
and you figure yourself out through the struggle,
Yeah.
and you figure out what you don't like first,
Yeah. You
and
start
then
playing the game.
and you start playing the game because then you're like,
Mm-hmm.
I really hate this job that I just had, but if I would just be able to work from home, it
Mm-hmm.
would be better.
Mm-hmm.
And then you're like, you know what, it's working from home is fine, but if I would just be able to kind of like have my own schedule,
Mm-hmm.
you know having my own schedule is fine, but if I would just be able to work less now because I want to enjoy time
Yeah.
with my family. It, it's very personal what the example that I'm saying, because that's kind of like the
Yeah.
evolution that I had there myself, right? But it it that's kind of how you figure things out.
Yeah.
um if you don't have a problem, you'll
Mm-hmm.
never have a solution.
Mm-hmm. Amen. So I think we should end it because I don't see that little Kit Kat anywhere here. And I am worried he's upstairs jumping on the kids' heads like he was last night. So we're going to have to just end this right now. Or he just is up in the litter box stepping in his own poop and it's going to be tracked around the carpet. So,
So yeah, and I think that we bid this subject to
yeah.
pulp. Well, I don't know what the phrase is. Idioms are so hard in a different language.
Oh, yeah. You wouldn't say I just don't even ask me because
You're horrible
no,
with idioms.
yeah, I just my memory, like I said, it's not there anymore.
Yeah, no, but I think that.
There we go. Anyways,
So yeah, I hope you like this very long podcast. That's why I'm always kind of scared about talking about Argentina, because then it becomes this monologue. Um, but hopefully you know a little bit more about Argentina. Hopefully you know a little bit more about the economy.
yeah, let us know your thoughts if you're watching this on YouTube. Let us know your thoughts in the comments, and if you're listening on Spotify or Apple Podcasts, you can go over to Instagram and you can follow us. You can talk to us there. So thanks for listening if you got this far, and we will see you next week.
We appreciate you.
Bye.